As far as like my lower back, he was able to kind of treat, you know, different parts of my hamstring, hamstring tendonitis, lower back. And then for my knee, I've had that issue for about 7 or 8 years, just kind of on and off with running and cycling. So with that, he was able to just kind of check, all the different parts of my hamstrings. I pulled my back working out. I've always had, some sort of knee problem while running. I tried to do some cross training and just do some deadlifting, pulled my lower back. Kind of bedridden for about 3 days. I couldn't move. There was complete numbness in my lower back. And I knew Chris through the MDK project, the Modern Day Night project. So I just wanted to reach out to him and see if there was any relief that I could get so I could get back on my feet and run again.
Andy's one of my brothers from the Modern Day Night project. By the way, if you're a man and you want to be a better leader in your life, I can't recommend the Modern Day Night project enough. Amazing men, amazing people. He came from New York City. He had some low back issues that he had hurt a couple weeks prior from a deadlifting injury. He had some numbness in his low back and his butt cheek. It was really easy to fix. That wasn't really a major thing that he wanted to address besides just getting him back to running.
So with all that, it's just kind of, just been 7 years of on and off pain. And we've been treating that for about, I'd say like a month to 2 months right now. I've tried acupuncture, massage therapy, electrotherapy, ultrasound. Nothing really quite helped. And I've tried using a massage chair, hypervolt, whatever there was, I tried to use that, but the numbness still persisted even though the pain went away.
What I was more concerned about was the fact that he had years of what looked like hamstring tendinosis. No, it wasn't a hamstring tendonitis because tendonitis gets better when we rest. He was not getting better with rest. He had rested for weeks or months at a time over the years, and every single time he'd start running again, the hamstring tendon pain would be there. And then as he continued running over a few weeks, adapting to his workouts, the symptoms would go away.
Andy had chronic hamstring tendonitis, which is really tendinosis, degeneration of these hamstring tendons here. So we've been working on this range of motion to get it better so that every time he starts running after taking a few weeks off, this tendon would start to let him know that this tendon was there, was pissed off. And then as he continued running, it would go away, which is typical for tendinosis. So we've been working on this range and removing the grit and the adhesion from around that tendon.
It just made me less active, and I think I'm a pretty active guy, just always running, cycling. So with that, if I have to stay in bed for 2-3 days, it just makes me feel like I can't really do too much. Yeah, I just like to just wake up and run, or sometimes I'll bike late at night, but without that, I just kind of have some more time in my hands, and I'm just used to just, running 3-4 times a week.
So right here he has the semitendinosus, gracilis, and sartorius tendons all come and attach on this goose's foot. Pezantherinus is what they call it. So I'm just clearing out all of the grit and the adhesion from those areas so that when he's running, because he has to produce force with these muscles over however many miles and any marathons he's running, sometimes in the middle of the night. Just restoring the health to this tendon so that it can handle the stress of running over long periods of time.
This is hallmark early stage tendinosis. A normal hamstring tendon is kind of like the window in a box of spaghetti. All the tendon fibers are going straight up and down. That is a healthy tendon. A degenerated tendon, or a tendon with tendinosis, is kind of like taking that box of spaghetti and throwing it on the ground. So all the tendon fibers are going in different directions. The tendon ends up becoming thicker, and then when I ran the instrument over the tendon, we could feel that it was very granulomatous and it had a lot of glue and gunk in there.
I'd say with the lower back, it was probably around an 8, and I think with the knee, it was probably closer to like a 6 or 7 because I've been just dealing with it. So I just kind of learned how to tolerate it for quite some time. But the back was the worst. And then through that went away pretty quickly. That was kind of short-lived, but the knee, which was ongoing, that's probably went down to about like a 4 right now.
So a lot of what we've been doing with Andy is clearing out his straight leg raise test, which is about 84 degrees. That's like 93% function. It's really good. So he's a good athlete. but he did have a lot of adhesion in his hamstring tendons, semitendinosis, gracilis, sartorius, the sciatic nerve at his external rotators near his piriformis, not at his piriformis, his sciatic nerve a little bit at his hamstring as well. And then we're just getting his ankle to function a little bit better because he's had some Achilles symptoms here or there. A lot of this is because Andy runs very high mileage. He said next weekend he's going out and running 50K, which I believe is a little bit over 30 miles. So any little bit of imperfection or weakness or a little bit of adhesion is going to cause the body to compensate. And if he wants to run 10, 20, 30 years from now, which he does, he understands that fixing these problems early and not letting something like a degenerated tendon continue going on, it'll cause problems in the future.
The back right now is at a 0. Yeah, that's completely gone. And I can feel my skin. It was just numb before. That's what I was worried about. You know, I've heard people that they would be numb for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even years at a time. So I just wanted it to go away.
Most tears and ruptures, for example, the Achilles tendon, it happens to tendinotic tendons like this. 97% of Achilles tendon tears happen when it's tendinotic already. So similarly with the hamstring, it's the same stuff. If you have a degenerated tendon, it just needs to be healthy. And so getting the adhesion removed, normally people will get some level of permanent relief in 1 to 5 treatments. We have tests to determine if you have adhesion. If you don't have 90 degrees in your straight leg raise or your hamstring stretch test, that's a problem. If you're cat-cow, if you don't have bending, rounding the entire way, if it's anything more than, let's say, 2.5 inches of flatness, that's really bad. That tells us your low back is compromised and your sciatic nerve and your hamstring will be compromised as well. If you're lunging and you're not landing on your heel and pushing off your heel, that's a problem. If you're lunging and your knee's not lined over your second toe, if your knee is caving in as you're lunging, that tells us the hamstring's compromised. So these are all things that we look for when somebody has chronic hamstring tendonitis problems in order to get them the permanent relief they want.
I was really intrigued by the adhesion removal videos on social media. So I've never seen that done before. I'm familiar with like coin scratching, like Southeast Asian culture, if like you're sick or something, but I've never seen that used to like help with like, you know, pain therapy or pain relief. So after watching those videos, I came here, and it's just, you know, being able to like scrape these adhesions, you know, these gluey parts, you know, within your muscles, and it gets pretty painful. But you know, with all the tattoos that I have, it seems to be, you know, it's tolerable. And yeah, just having that constant twice a week, just having the adhesion removal, it's almost instant as far as like, you know, being able to stand up and bend my knees and move again. But I just know that it took several treatments to get to the point of where it is now, where I can run comfortably for longer distance, higher volumes. If you've had any sort of pain for like, you know, multiple years, or just something that just can't go away, like I've told several people about Dr. Chris already and just Barefoot Rehab. Like, he's a real deal. Like, he just understands the human body so well, where he can just kind of start to feel around and pinpoint certain areas, and I would just know without even telling him like certain parts are tender, and he can identify it. So just the fact that he can, you know, he knows the body so well, and he can just treat certain areas without you even saying what's painful, what's not. Anyone who has sort of long-term pain, I'd recommend them come here.
And if you're into getting tattoos, Andy's an amazing tattoo artist. I think he just moved from New York City to Austin. I'll be getting one from him in October. Just had to throw him a bone. Love you, Andy.
Dr. Chris has been great. I've never walked into a clinic where everyone's just super positive, super energetic. Like, you just feel very relaxed when you get here. So the moment you get into his office, like, it's just been super cool to just like have this calming energy of someone who's going to like fix and repair what your pain is. And although painful, like, you know, we just leave here with like good energy, feeling better, and ultimately like just that pain goes away.